Well, I took a couple days off from my channel, a little bit of a hiatus. Nothing serious to report there. It's just I had a bit of a busy weekend, didn't do a video. The big news in the Toronto area is that Barack Obama, Alex Soros, that's George Soros's kid, and Mark Carney met behind closed doors to discuss our future. By all accounts, if you know anything about Alex Soros, a lot of people say he is a low IQ puppet, and I've watched some video on him, and I'd have to agree. He's a bit of a Kamala Harris type figure with his word salad. Like, I understand that Mark Carney spits out the word salads and the him and the haws and all that. I understand that, but Alex Soros is just a legacy hire, so to speak, with the World Economic Forum and global domination of his Nazi father, his Fourth Reich father. Now, a lot of people, and this is kind of old news, 2 and 3 days old news, I understand that, but Barack Obama, by all accounts, it was one of the worst presidents in the history of the United States. All he caused, well, subsequently with his 2 terms as presidency, all he caused was division and turmoil within United States and within North America by all the different groups that he either backed openly or backed behind the scenes. Now, obviously, Mark Carney, Dianne Fox Carney, Alex Soros, they are all of the same mindset. Now, if you watch Promethean updates or Promethean action, those 2 older ladies, they break it down with regards to why Obama was here. And it's not to put the finishing touches on globalization. They were here to get their future strategy together with how they're going to deal with Donald Trump in the United States. And they are, from what they say, a little bit in damage control, or quite a bit in damage control. Now, like, okay, Mark Carney comes out of nowhere, so to speak, as a politician in April of 2025, right? Or a little bit before that, I should say. It was not so commonly known that Mark Carney was Justin Trudeau's advisor since 2020. Now, like I've said before in many videos, and like many people understand and know, that Mark Carney was groomed to take this position. And he's not an elected prime minister, like I've said many times. He was put in the position through appointment. He was not elected on the up and up. Not so dissimilar to Nate Erskine Smith's recent leadership bid for the provincial Liberals, where they brought in the person who won. They brought in a bunch of 14-year-olds that aren't even Canadian citizens, but you're allowed to vote in those sort of elections. So now Nate Erskine Smith is complaining that the system that he propped up was the system that actually defeated him. So how can you bring in 14-year-olds that aren't even, or any age, that aren't even Canadian citizens, and they vote and they have a say in who they are going to nominate for provincial leader? It's all by design, obviously, but it's very undermining. It's just another corrupt way to put people in place they want in place. Now, I jumped off on a bit of a tangent there with Nate Erskine Smith. What do we got? News helicopter. Is there any shootings around here where I am? Yeah, it's never a quiet moment in Toronto. So people are talking throughout, not so much the mainstream media as usual, but more people like myself. They are talking that what Barry the pole smoker Obama did was treasonous by coming up to another country and working behind the scenes against Donald Trump. Now, there's always a side of me that says that they are not working against Donald Trump. They are working in unison with Trump. There's always a piece of me that's going to say that, because this has gone on now, for a year and a half, 2 years, where Donald Trump is not doing a whole lot to go after the people that have gone after him, and it's it looks like it's ramping up to me. So unless there's behind the scenes goings-ons within the Department of Justice to go after the Barry pole-smoking Obamas and the Nancy Pelosi's, the Hillary Clintons, can never pronounce that little witch's name right, and others, and there's a long list of people that have gone after Trump. Until I see action with regards to that, I'm at a high belief that Trump is involved in it. They are using Canada as not only a test bed, but they're using Canada as a complete garbage dump for the world's problems. And they are dump. It's like a landfill site. Let me liken it like this. It's a landfill site that they are dumping to capacity. Then they are going to try to fix it after it's at capacity. That's the way I'm looking at this. That's the way I'm looking with the 15-minute cities, the central bank digital currency, the social credit score type things. Everything that people like myself have been vocalizing for years is now coming true. We have Diana Fox-Carney, we have Mark Carney using the word New World Order quite regularly now, globalism quite regularly. We have Mark Carney at every press junket or anytime a microphone's put in front of him saying that the old way of doing things is fractured. We gotta go in a different direction, and that's with Europe and that's with China. Now, I remember Mark Carney, before he was installed as Prime Minister, not campaigning on the fact that he was going to get rid of the U.S. It was quite the opposite. Remember, Mark Carney said he was the guy, the only guy, because of his financial background, that could deal with a guy like Donald Trump and the way the United States is headed. He said that time and time again, where he was the guy. But as soon as he was installed as Prime Minister, well, that was pretty much put on the back burner, so to speak, and he immediately came up with the China dialogue, where he was trying to foster relationships between Canada and China, and he subsequently went over there and came back with essentially nothing other than shitty Chinese EVs. Then he's gone on a world tour ever since, and he's now saying for the last, well, since 2 weeks after he was installed as Prime Minister, saying that he's European and saying that he has to, we have to think more along the lines of Europeans and more along the lines of China. So, you know, and constantly giving money to the Ukraine to Ukraine to fight Russia, but at the same time, China is giving military weaponry to Russia, and at the same time, with this money that Canada's given them, Brookfield Asset Management is going in the back door and apparently securing contracts within Ukraine to rebuild it. So basically, Canada is giving money to the Ukraine, so the Ukraine can give money to Brookfield Asset Management to hire firms or to sign MOUs or to sign bullshit contracts over there in Ukraine under the supervision of Chrystia Freebase, our former disgraced MP that was sent over there as a liaison, as a money laundering liaison between the Canadian government, Mark Carney, not the Canadian government, the Chinese government, the World Economic Forum government, i.e. globalist government, to make sure that the money is being is not all going up Zelensky's nose, and to party boats and to so anyhow, you get where I'm going with this. So now either Donald Trump has to do something in the next little while. I don't know what he's waiting for. He's gotta pull the plug on this if he wants to. If he wants to ensure that his country remains a sovereign, safe country, he has to do something with the northern border, which is Canada, because Canada is allowing in, you know, military spies, people that want to do the United States harm. We can't form an allegiance or an alliance with China without expecting spies that are working against not only Canada but the United States, and I'm sure he's got to be aware of that. There's a politician, I believe, in California recently that just resigned because she's being brought up on spy charges through the Chinese government. Now, Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State under Trump's first administration, was in Toronto as well, and he went on record saying that the Chinese or Chinese expats that leave China are obligated to China to provide information wherever they are in the world back to China. So essentially every Chinese expat that leaves China is a Chinese spy. Mike Pompeo went on to say that every university within North America is infiltrated by Chinese spies. He even went on to say in this meeting, or this forum, he was up on stage, he even went on to say that there were Chinese operatives in the crowd watching him speak. So that's where we are. And to get back to Mark Carney never wearing a Canada lapel pin, I noticed the Governor General, in her brief press conference since being installed as Governor General, Louise Arbour, she's wearing her Order of Canada pin as well. So that Order of Canada pin is a globalist pin. You know, like I said before, some people are deserving of that honor, but it would appear now that honor is a communist globalist pin, and that is a message sent out that they are indeed still towing that line, and they are advertising to the world that this is a post-national country, and the Canada flag means nothing to these people that are currently in power. In closing, I want to say one thing about Rebel News and David Menzies. 2 weeks ago, David Menzies, or thereabouts, he was doing a street interview, and he interviewed this self-proclaimed American that was up in Canada. His wife was Canadian, and David interviewed him. I'll put the interview on the end of this video in a thumbnail, like I usually do. He went on to, you know, give a pretty eyebrow-raising interview with David with regards to, you know, his views on Israel, his views on the former, well, his views on Nazi Germany, and his views on this guy. And he's wearing all these pins. He's wearing a Palestinian flag pin. So I watched the initial interview 2 weeks ago, and the first thing that came to mind was this guy's Antifa. He's a paid imported liberal boots on ground provocateur, and he's obviously a radicalized leftist. So now, anyhow, fast forward 2 weeks. A couple days ago, police put out a picture of a person that kicked over a menorah at a Jewish community center at Davenport Avenue Road. So the police always release grainy pictures. You know, we all have cameras in our houses or on our phones that release or can take crystal clear pictures, but for some reason the police always release grainy pictures. But anyhow, the picture was very clear. Oh, well, I shouldn't say very clear, but it was clear enough to cross-reference it to the person that David Menzies interviewed 2 weeks ago. It's the same person. I'll put that up on the screen as well, and like I said, I'll put the interview in a thumbnail at the end. So David Menzies calls the Toronto Police snitch line 222 tips. He calls the police line and he audio records the conversation. Now, it's almost comical with the runaround that whether it be a civilian member, and I think it was a civilian member manning that phone, the runaround they gave him, and to the point where more or less he hung up. he had to call. They gave him 2 other places to call. Now you would think that a snitch line 222 tips, if you live in the Toronto area, you're very familiar with that because they used to plaster all over the news, and you would think that would be quite a proficient or efficient way to rat people out. But David tried to rat this guy out, and he has video proof of the same person 2 weeks ago, like I said. And you know, I don't know where it stands right now. As it stands right now, I don't think the police have called him back with regards to the investigation, but he had to call 3 different numbers to report this guy that is on the news. CP24 or City Pulse News reported and posted the picture of this guy kicking this menorah over, and David said he's 99.9% sure it's the same guy he interviewed 2 weeks ago. And I watched the video, and I'm saying it's 100% the same guy. So now, is the police going to do anything about this? The comical Toronto Police, the TPS, have the Toronto Police, the Department of Homeland Security, the RCMP, have they caught those 2 guys that shot up the U.S. consulate that I did a video on months ago? Have they caught those 2 guys that went bang, bang, bang to the U.S. consulate down on University? What's going on with that? Have they caught the 2 white guys wearing balaclavas over a month ago, assaulting a gay individual in the gay village in the middle of the night, wearing balaclavas, white guys, down in the gay village, assaulting a gay white guy? What's going on with that? How come they haven't caught those guys? The Juicy Smolletts, the 2 Nigerian bodybuilders that were white guys. You know, this is all bullshit. This is all bullshit. This guy that kicked over Menorah, he's obviously a paid provocateur, and he's Antifa. Like I said on the Rebel News comment section, I said he's a paid liberal import from the United States. He's a low-level radical that was caught doing something stupid, kicking over a menorah. Like, you got to understand that you're going to be on camera doing things like this, right? So, anyhow, he is paid to do this. He's paid to. I think he's even paid to go get caught. They need someone to keep this movement greased. And if it takes sacrificing a couple people. What's it to them? You know what I mean? What's it to them? They blew up 2 or 3 buildings on 9/11, killing 3,000 people. So what's it throwing this dimwit from wherever he is down in the States, throwing him to the wolves? Now, if they even are going to catch him. So where we are going in this country is not good, people, and people that watch my content are aware of that. And I don't know what to say. I'm getting people that are my friends sending me information every day saying, you know, the cost of food and, you know, the mental health crisis that we have on the streets. People are witnessing things on the TTC. People are witnessing just people walking around in very dangerous mental health situations. And, you know, they're defecating on the street. They're urinating on the street in front of kids. And you know, we want to keep on propping up liberalism. We want to keep on propping up that hunchback Mark Carney hanging around with the pole smoker Barry Obama. We want to keep propping these people up for what? To make things worse? Like, things aren't getting better, people. Like, you know, I guess you know, a certain demographic of the people that are indoctrinated into this system, they maybe see no hope, and the only hope is to look for the government and to, you know, take everything the government has to offer because they have no other hope. There's a certain type of person that that looks to that system, I suppose. I'll put an example up on the screen. But anyhow, if you have anything to add to this video, put it in the comment section. I know I didn't get back. Well, I got back to a good percentage of my comments last couple of videos, but not all of them. So I'm going to do my best. Just put it in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.